And welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond. That worked all right. We are live on Facebook. We are going to social medias, and we are going to iTunes. I would also like to welcome in our guests from Disrupt Ed TV, as well as Voice Ed Radio Canada. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and thanks for being part of Education, Leadership, and Beyond. Would like to bring in today's sponsor of the show. Today's sponsor is Rocketbook. I spoke about them last week. And the more I'm using this tool, the more I am enjoying it. But Rocketbook is a reusable notebook and is also a scannable notebook that can go right to a number of your different setups, your Google Drive, your email, text message. You can designate where you would like your pages to go. So, for example, I was here at Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES today, and I took notes during the conference today. I met a bunch of great educators, and I took notes. I am going to designate down here where I'd like this to go, and then it'll go right to my Google Drive or right to my email. And this is all through Rocketbook. Rocketbook was nice enough to work with Education, Leadership, and Beyond, and they did offer a discount code. It's a one-time code, Marata20. You can use that code and get these for your school, get this for your personal life. Through Rocketbook, Marata20, and this is a great tool. So check it out. It certainly helped me today, and I certainly want to thank them for sponsoring the show. So before we welcome in today's guest is Jackie Levine. Jackie is one of the leaders here at Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES, and she'll be joining us here in just a minute or two. But before we get to Jackie Levine, I want to say welcome to our live listeners. Some of my former students are watching there. I see Brittany DeLuca's watching, my good friend Rich Billa, and certainly Kathy Ackerley from Port Jervis. Thanks for tuning in. If you have a question, a comment, you want to say something to us on the show, you have a question for Jackie and I during the show, please write it up there, and we'll try to get to it during the show. So today's concept is about conferences and going to conferences and what you can take away from them. Obviously, you can't go to a conference all the time or too much because it's going to take you away from your responsibilities. But it is a great thing, and certainly when the conferences are good, that you can learn and develop and grow. And have you gone to a conference this year? Have you been part of professional development where you've been outside your building? So I just jotted down a few thoughts about that and the important things of it. So number one, I spoke today and I was able to present here a great workshop. Do want to give a shout out. There was a number of school districts here, Brewster, New York, Somers Central, Suffern Central, Carmel, Rockland BOCES, Hendrick Hudson, Orange Ulster BOCES, Nassau, Roosevelt Union Free, and White Plains School District were all here, all from New York. And it was a great opportunity to meet a bunch of great educators. So that's the first thing. You get to meet people. I met some tremendous educators. We shared with one another. We learned from one another. I wasn't doing all the talking. They brought a lot of great concepts that I wrote down in that Rocketbook, and I'm going to try to implement when I get back to my school tomorrow. Number two, bring back something you've learned. Today, one of our major topics was the power of storytelling, and I hope those leaders will bring back storytelling to their school district and the power of storytelling and all the good things that can come from a great story. Number three, you're out of the mix of your building, right? We're in our day-to-day grind. You're there every day. You're in the routine. When you get out of the routine, good things can happen. You open your mindset up. You open your RAS your filter, right? And you can get some more into your thoughts and into your brains. Jackie's going to talk a little bit about the brain and her doctorate thesis, talking about that concept. Number 4, you get to share with like-minded people. The people all at this conference today chose the conference based on the content, right? Based around a lot of the concepts in my book, Surviving and Thriving, the principle. And they were here today. So there was about a dozen educators that were here with a like-mindedness to get better, a growth mindset, and all here to get some positivity. And I hope they got that today. And lastly, you never know what's going to happen. You never know who you're going to meet. The networking, you don't know if the tip that you're going to get, the takeaways that you're going to get for the conference are going to change your life. You never know. When I went and spoke to a class one time, I tell the story of the book of the principle, right? I went to a conference. I met a gentleman, Dr. Rob Gilbert, and he basically inspired me to write that book. He said, Andrew, you have a great story to tell. You should do it. And one thing led to another, boom, 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 and then we wrote the book. So you never know what's going to happen at a conference, and you never know the people you're going to meet. So it's important to do it, right? Start looking now for your state conference for next year, what the topic is, what you can learn from that conference, because you never know. And there's great people behind those conferences, the people that help set them up, the people that choose them. And that's one of those people here at Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES. I do want to thank Dr. Lynn Allen for bringing me here. And I'd also like to welcome into the program, as well as thank her for making me part of the program here. Here is Jackie Levine coming back from the backstage there. Welcome.
Yes, hi, thank you.
Come on.
I'm trying to get in here.
I'm going to get you on that high back chair. Scoot in. This is Jackie Levine, everyone, and welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Hello, everybody. I see we have quite a few listeners already.
We got some people watching, and I know your community is going to tune in, and we're going to have a great conversation. So I appreciate you coming on. I know it's been a long day for you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
of course.
This is Jackie's first podcast.
It is.
So we're going to break the ice here and get going. But she's doing great work here at Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES. And if you're watching from out of the New York area, this is just north of New York City. And Jackie is in a new role here.
Yes,
so why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing, tell us your title, and what you're doing here at Westchester BOCES.
Sure. Well, I'm the coordinator of school leadership and marketing services for PNW BOCES, and I organize professional development for the region and beyond in leadership, school building leadership, district leadership, and teacher leadership as well. So it's quite a collection of programs that we have to offer here at PNW BOCES to serve our leaders. We have everything from a doctoral program with our partners at Manhattanville College to a school and district leadership program through FSLA with our partners at Bank Street. We also offer workshops such as workplace harassment and human resources essentials. So there are a lot of different opportunities to develop different leaders at different levels and in different stages of their development.
Okay. And Jackie, what made you want to go into this position with so many aspects about leadership?
Well, that's a great question. I think leadership stands out to me the most because I've always felt pulled to leadership and to leading people. And I think as I started to study leadership and also started to study professional learning, I recognized that there were so many gaps in maybe what I learned or what we were learning in terms of the theory and then the practice. So I realized we needed to connect those a little bit more. And what draws me to being a coordinator of programming for leadership is the opportunity to bring what our districts need, what our leaders need, be responsive to them so that we are able to provide exactly what they need when they need it here at our BOCES. And of course, just being part of a BOCES is fantastic. So it seemed like a really good fit.
And your team here was so welcoming from the moment I got here today, the custodian who opened the door, to all of the people that helped, and they set this podcast up for us. And really an amazing team. So they're living that message that you're putting out there in terms of building relationships and your care of people. So
service and innovation through partnership, that's important to us, but also a culture of excellence.
That's your slogan again? Say that slogan again.
Service and innovation through partnership.
Yeah, well, and you lived that today. You really did. And I felt that as a guest here. So Jackie, tell me how start to finish, how do you bring a program in here that you say, man, this is going to be great? And then the second part, how do you know, is it a one-shot deal or is it a continuing ed? How do you make those decisions?
Well, I guess the best way to respond to that is through what our districts ask us for. And we respond to our district needs. The districts guide us in what they need for their leaders and whether or not they need it to be a continuation or a series. We also take input from our consultants. So if a need does arise from our districts, we speak with the top talent, so to speak, the top consultants, the top leaders and thought leaders in the field to say, what have you seen work elsewhere? What do you recommend? You've done your research in this area. How do you propose that we go forward and develop our leaders in this area they're asking for? What do you see? But we primarily let our districts guide us because that's what's important to us, is their input and their needs. We're here to serve them. And
who in the district? Is it the superintendent? Is it the principals? Is it the teachers? Or does it depend on the workshop?
It depends on the workshop. We really listen to all voices. We value all voices because they all matter. All levels of leadership and educators matter to us. We have programs that cater to guidance counselors, and so our guidance counselor forums will help direct, what the guidance counselors need. Our curriculum council will help determine what kind of curriculum and content development programs our teachers need and their leaders need. So we really do respond to what the districts and the teachers and leaders in those districts ask us for.
Okay. And then tell me about, from start to finish, right? You decide you're going to have a program. You're one of your titles here. I know there was a lot there. You're coordinating a lot of things, but one of them is marketing.
Yeah.
How do you get the word out that it's happening?
Well, that really goes through a couple of channels. So, of course, there's always the responsiveness of to the district. So if they've asked us for something, then it's already out there that they need that. And then once we have it put together, we inform them, we're working on this for you. This is what we have. What are your thoughts? How does this suit what you're looking for? We try to have their input as much as possible as we're developing it, so we know it's coming to be. Then we communicate it to our forums, whether it's Curriculum Council or the E&L forum. And we might also put flyers together and brochures, depending on the program, depending on what kind of marketing level it needs. It may be an e-blast as well, so you might get emails out to the entire catchment area that will receive, the date, the time, here's the button to click to enroll. And of course, we're always available to answer questions so that it helps the leaders and teachers connect with us and say, will this be right for me? Am I the right grade level? What's the audience, et cetera? So there's a pretty big strategy that goes into making sure this happens and happens well and that everyone knows it's happening.
Cool. Yeah. I got to know what's going on to be part of it.
And we also rely on our partners too. If they have a following of some sort, we rely on them to let their followers and listeners know as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, doing this program is part of what we had going on today. Mm-hmm. So in this role now, again, coordinating of school leadership and marketing, mm-hmm. What would you say, Jackie, are the most important components of leadership that you see in school leaders that makes that person a dynamic leader? Mm-hmm. That leader of that school, that superintendent, that principal is doing great work because of these characteristics. What would you say?
Great. That's a really good question. I would say one of the most important things a leader could do is build strong relationships and trust. When you have trust, when you can trust your leader stands beside you, supports you in everything you do, and will be there whether things are difficult or things are easy, that you can trust in them. I think that's very important. I think communication is very important. I think if we, let stories get out ahead of us or let narratives grow beyond our reach, we haven't communicated well then. And I think thinking about the people, right? It's about people, it's about connections, it's about the human condition, and recognizing that you need to approach everyone assuming goodwill, assuming that they are trying their best, doing their best, may have a lot of other things impacting what they're doing in the moment or how they're reacting in the moment. So it goes back to that social emotional wellness, mm-hmm. and recognizing how you can be a social emotionally strong leader. So I think those are important. And I'll end this with a little quote that I heard just last week from one of my favorite principals.
You're bringing quotes in already. I love it. Usually we end the show, but she's We're going to adopt. Cool.
One
Go
of
for
my favorite principals said just the other day at a forum we had here for assistant principals, he said, learn from the people you love. And there is, and that just speaks so much to the relationships, but also the human nature. Like when we love people, we learn best from them. So I guess that would be something that sticks with me.
Write that one down. That was good. And you said something in there, right? It's an important component, but you said it quick, assuming goodwill, right? You're assuming people have good intentions. You're assuming that people are doing the best for kids. You know, it's that country song, Brad Paisley, I'm a fan. You know, most people are good, right? And if you have that, you're going to see the good in people. You're going to see the good things they're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great answer.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jackie, in addition to being new to this position, you're also growing in your own leadership. You are going for your doctorate. Yeah, so tell me about that journey. Tell me where you're at. And
Oh,
of course,
and what a journey it is.
and of course, you know, everyone wants to know what's the dissertation, right? So share that with us.
Sure. So I'm pretty passionate about learning about executive function, but I take the lens of looking at the teachers and executive function because research shows that stress and other pressures impact our executive function in the classroom.
And Jackie, be specific. What executive function? That sounds like a fancy term. What does it specifically mean?
Time management, organization, shifting, mostly flexible shifting, and decision making. You know, that flexibility to say, oh, that student might not have picked that up. How can I rephrase that question I just asked? And you know, those pieces are happening so rapidly in our brains. When you think about driving in a car, your executive functions are firing automatically right away, and all the things that you need to be thinking about and doing while you're driving a car, but we don't necessarily recognize that. So, you know, these happen also in the classroom while a teacher is trying to instruct. And, you know, our executive functions don't always function well when they're under duress, when they're under stress, or there's other factors impacting the ability for your executive functions to fire at their best, you know, top pace. And I think we need to recognize that teaching is complex work. And to operate at that high level of complexity, you need things to be more automatic, such as routines in the classroom and responses and decision making. So until we recognize that, I think that we might not be supporting our teachers in the best way. And again, it goes back to that human condition. It goes back to recognizing how people are, and that there is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and safety and security is down here, while self-actualization, where we need to be operating as good teachers, is up here. So if anything is happening either at home or even in the workplace that is compromising safety and security in any way, we may not be reaching that self-actualization piece and being highly reflective teachers who are thinking about all the different needs in our classroom at any given moment and operating that way.
So what are you finding? What are you're finding out?
I haven't done my study yet.
Okay.
I haven't done my research yet. I'm doing my literature review right now. What I have found is there is not a lot of study being done in adults. It's adults with impairments. It's adults with ADHD. It's not just in general executive functions in adults.
Yeah.
And the development of the prefrontal cortex. Like only now we're finding some research where your prefrontal cortex, where those functions live, may not be developed into your mid to late 20s, or even for some people in your 30s. So what does that mean for our newer teachers coming into the profession, straight out of graduate school at 22, 23? What does that mean for them? Are they operating? Are they able to operate at that level yet?
A lot of growth, a lot of opportunity for growth.
And it goes back to the assumptions as well. So we want to assume goodwill, but we don't want to make too many assumptions. Like a new teacher comes in and knows exactly how to teach reading when reading is such a specific science. So if we're not setting those clarified expectations and non-negotiables up front, and this is how we do it here in our school, are we maybe not setting them up for success?
You know, and you shared a really special story off air about your dad. Yeah. Unfortunately, had brain cancer, but this helped trigger this study, right? So do you want to share that? I don't want to touch it.
No, it's okay. He did. He passed away in 2011 from glioblastoma multiforme, which was what John McCain had, but he passed away.
Okay.
So, and I think Joe Biden's son as well. So, it's actually, I didn't realize how popular, I guess, or how much it was happening around the country, this type of brain cancer. And when it first came about, my father and his diagnosed, of course, I did a lot of research, both on different neurosurgeons that would maybe be able to help him, but also the brain and its functions to see if there was anything that I could do in any way. We were going to stop this thing, we were going to beat it. The short story is we didn't beat it, but in that study, I also studied, how the brain operates and, also the executive functions as well, because I noticed what was happening to him along the way. And when he finally did pass, I had some time after our grieving process to kind of look back and think of, my teaching. And it was really just looking at the year that came after. I was teaching 4th grade at the time. And the year that came after was a really great year for me. And I had really been on fire in my teaching. And I thought back to the year before and I thought, what's different? Why do I feel better right now? Why am I teaching better right now? And it was because that year was a year I was dealing with my father's illness at home. And I thought about myself the year before that year and then this current year that I was teaching in. And I said, wow, those students didn't get the best of me that year. And then I said, wow, what does that say about our families, our teachers who are going home to maybe not the best home environment. Maybe they're taking care of a sick parent. Maybe they have a lot going on, financial troubles, whatever it may be at home that they bring to the classroom, or what they don't bring to the classroom because of what's going on at home. And that's what really started me thinking about what's going on in both your social emotional wellness, but also in the brain, to prohibit us from being at our best at all times.
That's a beautiful story, sharing about your dad and, finishing that doctorate, in a way could be a tribute to your dad. Yeah. Yeah. When people call you doctor, you're thinking that. Yeah. Well, I wish you good luck in that.
Thank you.
You've inspired me, and that, it's about time that I start thinking about that. You're getting your doctorate, you want some advice
we
here.
We have a program right here
at
PNW BOCES.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you taught 4th grade, and my kids right now are in 6th, 4th, and 2nd. So I have a 4th grader, my man Matthew Murata. If you're watching at home, make sure you do your homework. And it's great, right? They're a great age. They're learning. They're curious.
Such a great
age.
Energetic. Great reading and books to get into with them, and writing pieces that they deliver. It's just really fantastic.
So what have you learned from going from that level to now working with adult learners, right? It's a different mindset. It's a different ball game. What are the differences that you're seeing in adult learners versus when you taught 4th grade?
Well, that's, outside of the obvious, I think one thing that we neglect to do sometimes is really just kind of respect the room, right? Respect the expertise and the wisdom that is coming into that room. There are people with many years of experience. There are people with maybe limited teaching experience, but other outside experiences they bring to the table. So you have that, but you also have these individuals with very busy lives and a lot going on at home, where the student, they kind of come to you and they're a student. That is their role. That is their job. They may have other issues going on at home that you could tease out as a teacher and address, hopefully. But hopefully not. If we're just speaking with the general student, they're coming in and they're in a different place. But you may have adults leaving the room because they have, especially if it's a principal or someone, they're leaving the room because they have to answer a call or handle a difficult conversation. So there's a different approach you might take in terms of that, and in setting your norms from the get-go of what you're expecting about devices and about the ability to kind of come and go as you please, and not feel like it'll be looked down upon if they're taking care of their personal business or professional business.
Yeah.
But I think they're the same as students in a lot of ways. I know I am as a student. I know I don't want to sit in a chair for 4 straight hours where someone talks at me. I want to do work. I want to work towards something that's going to mean something in the end. I want to have a deliverable by the end. I came there because I wanted to learn something different. So if I'm hearing something I kind of already knew, and the person didn't make any attempt to see what the room knew, I think that's, we need to think about that as well.
The prior knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Always have to access prior knowledge, and you do that with students as well. I think there are a lot of things that are similar about teaching adults as teaching students. Movement is important, getting them up and moving, and making sure. I think they might have longer attention spans as they're older, but I don't think having people sit for a straight hour, not turning and talking and not working on something together, I don't think that is really terribly useful. It probably, if anything, they're zoned out and on their phone or on their laptop handling the business of the day. To really keep their attention, you have to really be sharing something with them that's new and different, or something that they have to answer for in some way. You know, they had a group project or a turn and talk or something along those lines, something engaging.
You know, we had a great group in there today. I mentioned the school districts that were here. They were really in tune. They did a great job. One of the components that I've been adding is the opportunity for self-reflection, right? Adults are processing, they're checking in with their kids at home. They got this, they got that. But when you give them a task or a topic and you give them some time to reflect, you know, whether they're writing it down in a book, they're typing it, I think that's an important component as well.
It is. It definitely is. I think reflection should be part of everything we do in some way.
Yeah. I also wanted to tell you, again, from start to finish, I walked in, the gentleman let me in, the room was already set up. Your screen there, it was kind of like, I felt like in a Marriott or Hilton. It had the welcome screen and then all of the activities that were happening today with the locations. It was really well organized. Tell me about getting all of the team members on board with, okay, here's the plan for the day and all of their roles, you know, and tasks that go into that.
Well, I mean, I guess the best I can do is point to our culture of collaboration, and we have a "we can do that" culture, and it's that positive attitude about you know, doing whatever it takes to make sure we support each other, support the folks coming into our building, and I also think part of it is making BOCES like a second home to our districts and our leaders and our participants and our consultants. I think this has to be a place where you feel comfortable, where you can know everything will be taken care of and just be here to do what you came to do, whether it's to learn or to lead. And so knowing that everything was in place for you so that you could just come in and prepare for your workshop and not have to wonder who's bringing coffee, is coffee available.
The coffee was excellent.
We work really hard on making sure we have good coffee.
Gotta get good coffee. It's in the book.
But yeah, I mean, that's important to us. It's making sure everyone has what they need in order to do their best work and come here for what they came to do. And whether it's taking, you know, not worrying about whether or not you have to log into the Wi-Fi, you know, we don't have a password. You just kind of jump on PNW Guest and it's there. And I think everyone buys into that culture. I think, and that comes from strong leadership and constant communication from our leadership about our mission, vision, and core values. And staying true to those core values always about making sure we have a culture of excellence and everyone's striving for that together. I think that's how we get our team to all be on the same page about what running a great workshop looks like or what holding a good meeting looks like. You know, both the people running the meeting and the people organizing the logistics to make that meeting happen. Very
cool. Yeah, well said. Jackie, I did some research for the show to get ready today, and I learned a little bit about you. You know, your husband's a fellow principal, just starting out in his first year. As well, he's getting his doctorate, so they're going to be a family of doctors. But I also learned you have a strong love for dogs.
I do.
They're a major part of your life. Tell me about that. How many dogs do you have, and where does that come from? Because I'm a dog lover as well.
I mean, I think once you love dogs forever. I grew up with dogs always. But I have 4.
Wow.
4 little ones. They're little. I think my husband jokes that altogether they equal 1 dog. So so he's always a little embarrassed that he has 4 little things running around instead of like 1 big German Shepherd. I like it because, you know, I can pick them up and I can carry them places. But yeah, it really just started that I found this breed I loved, this Japanese chin. And if you've ever seen it, it's like a Lhasa Apso with a little pushed in face, long hair, and they're just like regal looking, beautiful. But as puppies, they're like little gremlins. Remember the Mogwai? Yes.
I didn't want to offend you. Like, you look like a gremlin.
It does. It looks exactly like a gremlin as a puppy.
I thought you might say you called my dog a gremlin.
No, look. If you look up the Mogwai, I think his name. If you look it up, Gizmo, when he was like before, you know, all the bad
microwave,
ones, right before the microwave. But yeah, so they look like that as puppies, and so I had to have one, right? So I got my Japanese chin, and you know, my husband, that was his first gift to me. We were only dating 3 months, and his mother said,
"Ooh, that's heavy.
Are you crazy?
That's heavy.
You're buying her a dog at 3 years."
So
that was his very first gift. So that was our first puppy we raised together. And then when he finally bought his own place and the puppy moved in, or the dog now moved in, he was all by himself. We were both working all day, and he said, "You know, he really needs a friend." He can't be alone all day. He needs a friend. So we got a friend. We got another Japanese chin in different colors, and they were buddies. And then when we were about to get married, I said, no, I don't want any jewelry as my wedding gift. If you could, I would like a puppy. And he said, no. And I said, okay, fine. That's all right. Anyway, so the wedding came and went. He didn't walk down the aisle with a puppy. That was my dream. That was all I wanted, was for him to walk down the aisle with a puppy. And he said, no. So I said, okay. So anyway, a week later, I convinced him to go to a puppy store. And we had seen a puppy there because I like to go to puppy stores and pet the puppies.
She likes the puppies.
I do. I really love puppies so much. Anyway, so we had gone about a week before the wedding, and we had seen this adorable little puppy with his folded little ears and little white socks and big snout. He was adorable. We didn't know what he was. He was just this. He was a designer breed gone wrong. Actually, they tried to do a designer breed, and it didn't take off. So it was like a Papillon.
TJ Maxx brand, Marshall.
Pretty much, that poor little thing. But anyway, so when we went back, I convinced him to go back the week after the wedding. And we asked, oh, did you sell that dog? He's not here. And they said, oh, no, he's in the back. And my husband said, that's it. We're taking him because you know what happens once they go in the back. So we rescued him. We consider it a rescue. So we rescued him. And then when our very first dog passed away, I said, I can't get another puppy. I can't do that again. I won't go through that again. It was heartbreaking. And then a friend sent me on Facebook a picture of a little Japanese chin puppy that looked just like my other puppy, the very first one, who was named Monster, by the way. That's a whole other story. But looked like Monster, and his name was Jack. So I'm Jackie. Here's this little Japanese chin, which they're never up for adoption. This is almost like a designer breed. They're never up for adoption. So here's this little dog that had no home, that looked exactly like my dog that had passed. And I said, honey, we have to. And I threatened him too. I said, you better, because they were going to come visit the house.
Notice the word she's using. It went from convincing to now threatening her.
I did.
Mr. Levine.
I wanted him to know that if he did not, make the adoption place feel like he really wanted this puppy, that, I would be very upset with him. So I said, he's going to come visit. We're going for a visit. He's going to meet the other dogs. And
better be on your best behavior.
Better be on your best behavior. So then Jack joined our family. So now we were back to 3. And the 4th just happened this past September. We were leaving brunch, and we, for some reason, stopped at a shelter. That was him. It was all his idea. He said, let's stop at a shelter. And we did, and there was this little Pomeranian that nobody wanted for 6 months. He was terrified of people, and the only people he could go to were people who had dogs, because he was afraid of humans. Some shelter dogs can't be in a house with other dogs. This dog couldn't be in a house alone with just people. He needed a pack. So when my husband heard that story and noticed he had not been adopted for several months, we took him home. So now we have Donovan.
And then there were 4.
And now there are 4. And I said, that's it. We're not doing this anymore. We're done.
Well, we better get moving here, because I'm sure you have to get home to walk the dogs here. Wow. He's
on dog duty tonight, but yes, that is always a give and take of ours. We have to, say who's going home to the dogs tonight.
That's some story. That we say it in the most respectful way, right? But so kids, sometimes we say, could be like dogs, right? Not, again, in a respectful way, but they could sense love. They could sense genuineness, right? Authenticness, and they could sniff you right out if something's not right. Sure. And so I love dogs as well. My man Jared Camo is called my partner. All right, well, let's get to the rapid fire, because I know it's been a long day for you, and you're going to get home to those loved ones. So these are quick questions, right? Okay. Quick answers. Okay. And let's get to it. All right. Last book you read?
Dissertation Journey. I have to for homework.
She's doing her homework. Dissertation Journey. Last movie you saw?
Oh my. It was a movie on Netflix, The Mirage.
Good?
It was great. It was. It has subtitles, though. Oh. It's in Spanish, but it was great.
You couldn't really see it? It was a Mirage? Favorite place to travel?
Hands down, Miami. I went to school there. And I
University of?
I did. I'm a hurricane.
Yeah, you got the U. Yeah, the
yeah.
U chain. So you got the green
I don't quite have
on
the chain, but I've got the U.
When they do something good here at Putnam Northern Westchester Bus.
We should. Oh, that's a great idea. I like it. I like it.
The U. What'd you study there?
Theater arts with a minor in psychology.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Your greatest challenge here at work?
Time management. I always say yes to things. When invites pop up
and
on
dogs.
my phone, I just kind of say, and yes. So I always say yes to dogs.
That's how you wound up on the podcast,
That's
right?
Right.
Something that motivates you is? A pet peeve of yours?
If I cook and the other person doesn't clean the dishes. I love to cook, but I'm not a good cleaner. So I need someone to take on the cleaning of the dishes. Luckily, we have that partnership.
I agree with that. Got to set those expectations.
That's right. That's right.
The executive functions in the kitchen.
That's
yeah.
I could just have a whole
next research project.
That's right.
Best purchase under $100 that has had a great impact on your life.
I'd have to say Jack. I mean, he wasn't a purchase. You have to give an adoption fee, but I would say him. Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah, dog number 3. Well, technically 4, but in the order, yeah.
He's 3 now. He's moved up.
He's right. He's up.
3 most important qualities of a good presenter. You see all kinds of people here.
3?
Yeah. What are the 3 most important qualities of a good presenter?
Humor, expertise, and I'm going to call it timeliness, time management, knowing just the right amount of time to give for turn and talks, just the amount of time to give for working on a project, just the amount of time to give before you start, and just the amount of time to give to do an evaluation at the end. Just really knowing the flow of the day. So your expertise, your humor, that keeps people engaged and gives people information they need. And then
that's big. The timeliness is big.
Structuring your day well is good.
I agree with that. Something about Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES that people do not know about.
Jeez. I hope I do a really good job of marketing so that people know everything about PNW BOCES.
Well, here's your chance.
I mean, our culinary program is top notch. We have some fantastic culinary students out there, and they really produce really great items for holidays and for just in general. I know we always have the opportunity to sample things here, but they are really, I mean, we have the Educated Palate, which is like one of their kind of classroom / restaurants that they put together. So they work at Tilly Foster Farm. It's a really great program, I think.
Culinary program, shout out. Favorite downtime or away from school activity?
That's a good question. I'm going to say spin class, but I have not found a good spin class since I've moved, so I have to look for a new spin class.
Just putting it out there. Spin class. Short-term personal goal, 3 to 5 months.
3 to 5 months to propose my my dissertation, to defend my proposal.
Okay. Long-term personal goal, 3 to 5 years.
Complete my dissertation.
It takes how?
I could reasonably see myself finishing by the end of summer next year. So that's potential, but it could take another year or 2. So I'm giving myself a nice.
And who directs that? Is that traffic all you? Does the program say you need to have X done by this date, or is it all on you?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of your own work ethic and time management in there, and building in structures and routines to make sure you're working on it regularly. But I also think a good program will make sure that you have the components you need before they send you out to the world to start writing and working on your dissertation. So they'll make sure you've done a dissertation critique. They'll make sure that you've studied both quantitative and qualitative research methodologies. They'll make sure that you have a good solid foundation in research and how to do research and what a literature review looks like before you start writing one. So I think the program itself should build in time to provide for that, but then it is on you to make sure you're actually doing the writing.
All right. You said something that just it came in and went right out. I forgot what you said something. Well, Jackie, we're going to wrap up here.
Okay.
How can people get in touch with you? How can people learn more about, Putnam North and Westchester BOCES? How can they get in touch with you?
JLevine@pnwboces.org is my email address, and I'm also on Twitter @JackieLevinePNW. So I'd love to hear from you and get some tweets. I need to get some followers, so I'm really trying to build that up a bit.
It's not the followers, it's the content, and you guys are doing great work here. So you don't worry about the followers, it's the content. Jackie, it was a beautiful quote you mentioned before. But you also mentioned
it is Mr. D. But
yeah. But you also mentioned a favorite poem that you have. You want to share what that was?
Yes, it is the poem "If" by Rudyard Kipling. If you can dream but not make dreams your master, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you but make allowance for their doubts. I think there's a lot in leadership in that poem, reflecting on yourself and keeping your head about you when all around you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. There's a lot to learn about leadership from that poem.
There absolutely is, and I like that. My book recommendation, we're going to go back to today's sponsor here. I want to try not
My
to get
husband
this
loves Rocketbook.
Yeah, does he use it?
Big fan.
Yeah, and they help organize all the things
really
he's got going on.
Yeah, I watch him kind of do this. He writes his notes and then he washes it off. And, goes about his day. Yeah.
So there it is, right? Rocketbook. And so these are the notes. I mean, look at all what Jackie shared today, right? This is a great thing here. I'm going to take this iPhone and scan it, and it's going to go right to my drive. I'll share it with Jackie. But these are all the things I learned today, and it's not going to go up in a crumpled piece of paper. So, again, Rocketbook did give a discount code. If you are interested, Murata20, you'll get a 20% discount off from our friends at Rocketbook. That's on their website. All right, Jackie, I appreciate it. We're going to give a shout out. Continue to go out and do great work in your schools. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you do like the show, leave us a positive review on iTunes or like us on Facebook. We need some more questions here. Our friends here, we didn't get any questions. At Andrew Murata21 is my Twitter. And Jackie, your Twitter again?
Jackie Levine PNW.
All right, we're going to sign off. Let's get this music queued up. Here we go. All right, we're signing off, everyone. Until next time, continue to go do great things in your school, and thanks for tuning in. You did a good job. Yeah, first back there.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.